Brought to you by
Envy, the power of French perfume.
Nice perfume. Nice perfume.
Envy, the power of French perfume.
Who's winning this game? Who you make his favourites?
If I knew that, I could, probably relax a little bit easier coming into tomorrow. So of course, we're desperate to win. It's going to be amazing, isn't it? I think already we've seen 4 good days of cricket and 2 games which have been, well supported. But that last sort of hour or half an hour of the support and the energy around the ground made it amazing, really. And it's sort of like everybody was invested into it. There was, from an England point of view, obviously brilliant. We love those sort of situations when the crowd is really up behind the team. Hopefully we can get a bit more of that tomorrow and we can sort of push forward to win again.
The team went out to defend 193 and when they came back just there, you seeing like a really fired up in
well, I think we had momentum a little bit towards the back end. When you go out with a new ball, you're always hoping that you're going to pick up early wickets. We've got an early one, then they've got a partnership, but I think the buzz around the ground at the end really sort of gave the boys a lift that they needed. A couple of late wickets in the day, give them that hope that we're bang on the money. So it will revolve around the first hour of the days tomorrow. How positive India can be, how dominant we can be with the ball, and how many early wickets we can get.
Can I ask your assessment of that team performance today? It was obviously a bit of bounce early in the day. Was 192 short of where you wanted to be, and what would you have seen as the kind of score you wanted?
Well, I think we always wanted sort of 250 plus. Of course we did. But I think after the first innings, it was really hard to judge what the good score was going to be because it was definitely, there was more variation in bounce this morning than we'd seen in any time in the game. We would have loved to have had more runs than what we did, but still feel like we've got a decent score on the board with something to really sort of push on towards tomorrow. So, I don't think we're going to sit back and dwell on what's happened today too much. We'll look forward to what's going to happen tomorrow.
Bashir, how is he? Do you expect him to bowl tomorrow?
He's fit to bowl, he's ready to bowl. I think he comes in, the regulation, as I believe, is he can come on to bowl as and when he's needed. And then if he's not bowling at any stage, he can then come back off because it's obviously an eternal blow. So should we need him, he will be ready to bowl again.
Go ahead, sir. Coach, what kind of talks are going on as far as the wicket is concerned? Because we constantly see that there is some uneven bounce there. But according to you, what will be like on the 5th day? Was it something very close to where spinners will get a help, or seamers will get along as far as this pitch is concerned?
I think the majority of what we've seen is the variation in bounce in quick bowlers, people who can bowl balls that hit the seam, wobbling. The wobble seam delivery is the talk of the town nowadays. I mean, that is a kind of a dangerous ball on this sort of pitch with the variation. I think you kind of see a bit more bounce bowling from the nursery end, where you see from bowling from the pavilion end, maybe a bit more use of the slope where it angles back towards the stump. So that's hopefully what we'll see again tomorrow, and hopefully it'll seam everywhere and we'll get 6 wickets in the first hour.
Lizzie and then Stefan, please.
Hi Marcus, just quickly on the crowd, we saw Joe geeing them up there and it's a sellout tomorrow. Just how important is that, and does that get the juices flowing to the players? Do they get really fired up by it?
Oh, definitely. I think if we can create some form of atmosphere that's very similar to that, it may not start with the same way, it might take a wicket to sort of get it going. We might need Joe to wind them up again, but the support has been brilliant throughout because obviously we know both teams are really well supported and it's great that we have that. And of course tomorrow will be no different because everyone loves their cricket and we'll get another full house where both teams are going to, or both sets of supporters will get to see a finale of amazing test matches.
Stefan and Matt, please.
Just on the back of the atmosphere, what have you made of a bit of a tension, if the right word, between the teams, and are you pleased to see that? How much of an edge has that given to the action?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps to the situation, doesn't it? I think having that competitive edge from both teams where they're desperate to win. Both teams are desperate to win. They want to fight for every wicket, every run, everything, every opportunity you get. So I have no problem at all with what goes on. There was a bit last night. There's obviously a similar situation tonight where everything was happening, and it comes and goes. I think it creates more people watching the game, which is definitely a good thing. Of course, we know, both teams know there's always lines you have to cross. I don't think it's really been troubled too much in this game, but it definitely helps the atmosphere and the presence of the series.
It's a bit old school, isn't it?
Well, I think it's definitely got better in the last few years. It's definitely got more friendly in the last few years because of everyone's playing together in franchise tournaments around the world. Right? It's like, you know, they're teammates one week and now they're opposition and they're fighting for every tooth and nail. So, you know, sometimes it's good to create a little bit of something in the game.
Matt, go ahead.
Marcus, Harry Brooks taken quite a bit of criticism for his dismissal today, but just ask your assessment of, I suppose, shot selection versus poor execution and how you and him will reflect on it as a pair.
Yeah, we've already discussed it. I think you could see the way that the ball was moving around, and that he chose that's the best way to try and counteract what was going to try and happen. I think, you know, when he scooped the 2 for 4 and then hit the next one for 6, we were all sitting back and really enjoying it. So sometimes you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and you're going to get it wrong, you're going to get it right. So it is what it is, right? And obviously he missed the ball today, and he was bang on target. So.
Okay, 2 more, one at the back, and then we'll finish with Adam. Go ahead.
Trescothick, you must have been impressed by K.L. Rahul's batting throughout the series. He's been one of the ones finding more with objects. How important is wicket tomorrow? You say every batter's wicket is important, but how important is K.L. first of all?
Well, along with other players, of course, you know himself, Richard, you know, they're both very, very dangerous players, obviously in different ways for what they're trying to do. But KL's been, you know, classical, old school style of Test cricket, isn't it? Left the ball really well, just got the length is good, looked to bat for a long period of time and he's done it well. Obviously 100 in the first innings. Hopefully we don't, you know, we can get him out early and we can start getting into the rest of the tail as they come along. But he has been, you know, he's been pretty dominant in a few of the games that he's played, and he's pretty much got a score in most innings that he's played. So.
Last one, Adam, please.
Marcus, was there any sense of frustration with some of the Indian celebrations? Do you think it helped fighting them up at all?
I have no problem with any of their celebrations.
Not within the dressing room, nothing?
No.
Okay, thanks, Chris. All done. Thank you.
Thank you.
ये है इंडिया और इंग्लैंड का महामुकाबला। लाइव मैचेस तो आप देख लेंगे, मगर खेल के पीछे टीमों की स्ट्रैटेजी, टीमों की चाल और फिर आपके सवाल, ये सब होंगे स्पोर्ट्स तक। तो अभी तक अगर आपने स्पोर्ट्स तक को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो फटाफट सब्सक्राइब भी कर लीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन की घंटी भी बजा डालिए।